Good people, we did agree, or it is said that a function within a function within a class is called a method. It's called a method. In our previous example, the one we just did in class 4, we have this method. So this is a function, and this is a function as well. So this function within a class is called a method. This is a method as well. So the init method, it's a special method, right? So this means it implements some special behavior of the class. So the init, I'll say the init method. So init method, a special method name, a special method. I just wanted to pass this before we go to our next example. Let's create class 5. So what we're trying to do here is we want to create. So first we want to create a class. We want to create a class. Class to calculate the pay of employee. The pay of an employee. For employees, we'll use different employees here. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Supposed to. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, fine. So I'm going to start with our class keyword. We're going to call our example. We're going to call it employee. Yeah. So as we've said, we're going to start with having the init function, which is the init method, which is a method. Init. And as usual, the init takes in a self parameter as seen. Then here we're going to pass the, so we want to say we want to know the wage. We'll start with 0. Then we have the how many hours did this employee work. So we want to hours worked. Hours underscore. So we'll start with 0. So these are what we're going to use to calculate the amount of pay, right? So we're going to initialize the employee using different employees. Now, before we do that, I'd like us to create another method, since we've said a function within a class is called a method. So we're going to say we're going to create another function called calculate pay. So this is what we'll call, so as to, you're going to call this function so that it calculates the wage and the hours worked. So we're going to pass itself here as well. Then what this does is it's going to return the self dot wage multiplied by self dot hours worked. So that we get the amount of pay which each employee has to get paid. So let's say we're going to use, I want us to use an example of 2 employees, Alice being number 1. So we're going to initialize this with Alice, and then we plus we initialize our class here with Alice. So we're going to say Alice has a wage of 6.25. Okay. Then we said Alice, how many hours did Alice work? Hours worked, let's say she worked for 45 hours, right? So here we can print. We want to see, we just want to print, basically we want to see the result. We want to call the function, so we just let's print and see Alice has worked for these hours. We want to see the net pay of Alice, sorry, so we're going to say Alice, yeah, net pay of Alice is yeah, full colon, then we have this is an close Alice dot, now call the function calculate dot pay, which when we're calling a function, we ensure that we pass the opening and closing bracket. Then to ensure that we just use enough space, we're going to call it to floating point. Yeah, so we run this using Alice. So we're going to say Python class 5. Okay, sorry, class 5 is outside this. Let me just take it back, so we can do it again. We now have class 5, we can now redo it again. So you see net pay for Alice is 281.25. how did you get 281.25? sorry, how do you get 281.25? we've said we're calling this function, this function, this method, sorry, this method calculates the wage and the hours worked. So we say 45 multiplied by 6.25, we'll get 281.25. so that's how we been able to add the method. We've added a new method which does the calculation of this. Then we've done a printout of the same. You can do this, print out many examples using Alice, or you can use other examples, maybe Barbara and the likes. So that's our second example, whereby we have a function, we have a method, we have a user defined method in a class, and we're able to use it here. Basically we're saying Alice, what we've used to initialize our class, then we pass the function, the user defined function here, and we've seen the result right here. So thank you, and see you in the next one.